Hello and welcome to the very first episode in our series Co-Memos, an Erasmus Plus project focused on strengthening connections between generations to better understand the key challenges facing our environment. The focus of this episode will be on the topic of climate change. Let's get right into it then. First of all, we need a definition of climate change. Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns on Earth. While some changes are natural, today's climate change is mostly driven by human activities. The main cause is the burning of fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and gas, which releases greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide, into the atmosphere. These gases trap heat, leading to a greenhouse effect that warms the planet. Other contributors include deforestation, which reduces the number of trees that absorb CO2, industrial pollution, and certain farming practices. Human influence has increased Earth's average temperature by about 1.2 degrees Celsius since the late 1800s. Climate change has a global impact, as it is already affecting people and nature across the world. One of the most obvious signs is the rise in extreme weather events. Heat waves are becoming longer, hotter, and more frequent, causing health problems and even death. Droughts are lasting longer in some regions, making it harder to grow food and access clean water. In other places, heavy rains lead to floods that damage homes, roads, and farmland. Melting glaciers and polar ice are causing sea levels to rise. Threatening low-lying areas and island nations, forest fires are also becoming more intense and widespread, destroying ecosystems and harming air quality. These impacts disrupt daily life, economies, and communities. While everyone is affected, some groups are hit much harder, especially those with fewer resources to adapt or recover. Climate change does not impact everyone equally. It affects different groups in different ways. Young people will live with its effects the longest, and many are already experiencing anxiety about the future of the planet's seniors, are especially vulnerable during extreme heat waves because with age, the body is less able to regulate temperature, and older adults may have limited mobility or health issues. Marginalized communities, including low-income groups, indigenous peoples, and people in the global south, often face the worst impacts because they live in areas more exposed to climate risks and have fewer resources to adapt or recover. They may live in flood-prone zones or rely on farming that suffers during droughts. These inequalities show that climate change is also a social justice issue. Addressing it requires not only reducing emissions but also ensuring that solutions are fair and inclusive. In Europe, climate change is viewed as both an urgent environmental threat and a major political priority. Many governments and institutions, such as the European Union, are pushing for ambitious action through policies like the European Green Deal, which aims to make Europe climate neutral by 2050. This includes cutting greenhouse gas emissions, investing in clean energy, and promoting sustainable lifestyles. Public awareness is also high, especially among youth movements like Fridays for Future, which have helped make climate change a mainstream issue. Climate policy in Europe is often connected with ideas about innovation, job creation, and energy independence, framing the response as not only about saving the planet but also about building a fairer, greener future. Across Europe, many initiatives are being implemented to mitigate climate change. Countries are investing heavily in renewable energy sources like wind, solar, and hydropower. To replace fossil fuels, local communities are stepping up with creative grassroots solutions. More cities are developing cycling infrastructure and promoting public transport to reduce car use and emissions. Urban gardens and local food markets support sustainable agriculture while reducing the carbon footprint of long-distance food transport. Energy-efficient buildings, waste reduction programs, and tree planting initiatives are also making a difference. The European Union supports these efforts through funding, education, and regulations. However, individuals and communities play a key role. When people work together to change habits and advocate for climate-friendly policies, real impact happens. Every choice counts, from eating less meat to supporting green businesses. Youth workers and educators have a powerful role in shaping how young people understand and respond to climate change. The key message is that you don't have to be a climate scientist to make a difference. You simply need to start conversations, build connections, and take action together. Climate education should focus not only on the risks, but also on solutions and the power of collective effort. It is important to help young people see themselves as change makers, whether they are organizing cleanup events, starting eco-clubs, or pushing for better environmental policies in their schools or communities. Highlighting stories of resilience and innovation from youth around the world can inspire creativity, critical thinking, and hope, because climate justice is also about human rights, fairness, and inclusion. Most importantly, young people should be reminded that their voices matter, and when they speak up, people listen. Here is what some young people think about climate change. One young person shared,
"To me, climate change means a threat to our future and the world we know. It feels unfair that we have to fix problems we didn't create, but I also see it as a chance to make things better. My friends and I are conscious about our own impact on the environment, and we have taken multiple steps in that direction. I'm worried that if we don't act fast, we'll face more disasters, food shortages, and people being forced to leave their homes and the country in search for safer lives. Another thing is the general uncertainty of the future of my generation due to financial, social, and political issues."
They also suggested actions such as speaking up, organizing local events, joining protests, and making small changes in daily life. Using public transport, biking, eating less meat, shopping secondhand, and spreading awareness online can all make a difference when done collectively. Older people also shared their thoughts on climate change.
We used to grow our own food, tomatoes, cucumbers, everything. Whatever was in excess, we always put into preserves. Nothing was wasted. Food came in less packaging from the neighborhood store. It was just wrapped in paper and not in plastics. Whatever we bought, we used it as long as possible and repaired it, whether it was clothes, furniture, or even cars. Our generation lived through many, many turbulent times of what is now history. We have a lot of stories and experiences to share. Anything from how to grow food, take care of plants and animals, making preserves, and different recipes. We also take part and support community efforts in our areas as much as we are able to. For example, many of us are ensuring that the community areas in the residential parts of cities are filled with bee-friendly flowers and take care of those ourselves.
As we come to the end of this episode on climate change, let us remember to do our best to curb its effects. Any initiative, no matter how small, can contribute toward this goal.